Mark Carney and Christy Clark are currently being rebranded as outsiders and agents of change as potential replacements for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who will no longer be the Prime Minister or the Liberal Party leader after a, quote, robust leadership selection process. What that means or when that will happen, well, Canadians have no clue. But let me tell you this, that narrative that these two are outsiders, well, that falls apart faster than Trudeau's hope and hard work promises to the middle class during an election campaign. Let's start with Mark Carney. The Liberals are painting him as a fresh face ready to shake things up. But don't be fooled. Carney's ties to Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party go way back, and there's no denying it. He's been advising the Prime Minister for years, and long before Trudeau made it official with his fancy title for Carney, chair of the Leaders' Task Force on Economic Growth. But don't just take my word for it. Here's what the mainstream media said. Carney has been an informal advisor on policy matters with the Canadian Prime Minister. Trudeau is leaning on the former Goldman Sachs banker as a sounding board. That's from the Financial Post in August of 2020. And their relationship goes back further. Look at this. During the lockdown, the Prime Minister came to rely on Mark Carney for informal policy advice and now plans to revive the economy. That's from the Globe and Mail, August 11th, 2020. This man, Carney, he was a Goldman Sachs banker and served as the head of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England and as the official debanker of energy projects at the United Nations. Does that sound like some outsider to you? Carney's as much of an outsider to the Trudeau government as Gerald Butts is to the Prime Minister's office, as in he's no outsider at all. And now we've got Christy Clark, the former BC Liberal Premier, who's also in the middle of a historical rewrite. The media wants you to forget that she was pushing carbon taxes on Canadians before Trudeau even got started. Some outsider. She is the hype woman for the Trudeau government's flagship, most unpopular policy. Back in 2013, Clark was busy promoting BC's carbon tax, bragging that it was the highest in North America. Under her leadership, that tax increased by 200%. She even laid the groundwork for Trudeau's nationwide carbon tax we all suffer with now. In fact, Clark wasn't just supportive of Trudeau's carbon tax, she was cheerleading. And those are not my words. Those are the CBC's. The CBC called her the top cheerleader for the Prime Minister's carbon tax plan back in 2016. And when Trudeau proposed a $15 per ton carbon tax, oh man, those were the days. What did Christy Clark do? She demanded it be doubled, saying the rest of the country would still only be halfway to where British Columbia is. That's from the Globe and Mail, February 2016. So much for being an outsider. Clark was Trudeau's carbon tax trailblazer, helping to burden Canadians with skyrocketing energy costs while pretending it was all revenue neutral. Spoiler alert, it was not. Mark Carney and Christy Clark are not outsiders. They're insiders to the very systems Canadians are so desperate to change. Whether it's Carney's backroom influence on Trudeau's economic policies or Clark's role in saddling Canadians with carbon taxes, their records speak for themselves. Carney has been Trudeau's right-hand man on economic and COVID policies for years, and Clark's carbon tax obsession helped Trudeau bring his horrific green agenda to every corner of this country, whether we wanted it or not. So don't be fooled by the shiny rebranding. It's the same old elite, just wearing a new coat of paint.
You have to make sure that the systems, when we've got different systems across the country, some cap and trade, some carbon tax, that they are equal. Because we can't have Canadians in Western Canada, where most of the resources and energy are produced, paying double for carbon tax what they're paying for carbon pricing in Central Canada. And, you know, I fought for that. We got it in British Columbia's part of the agreement. And we want, you know, that's what I said I was going to do at the very beginning. But we wanted a deal, Wendy. That was probably the most important thing for us. I've always said we want to get a deal and we want the rest of the country to catch up to BC's leadership on this one.
And being low carbon is becoming a key driver of competitiveness. We're just at the start of a revolution driven by AI, in every sector, every economy, every company.
Don't let these two fool you. They're not here to disrupt the system. They're here to defend it. If Canada has systemic problems, and I believe we do, then these people are the system and the very problem with it. Canadians deserve better than recycled elites being dusted off, pretending to be the voice of the people when they never spoke up once, while Trudeau abused Canadians financially, morally, and ethically. Canadians need the opportunity to have their say and to use their voices at the ballot box. We should not leave the next leader of this country to be decided by the very people who gave us the idiot in charge we have now, the Liberal Party of Canada. They failed us, and now they want change because their fortunes, not yours, are in jeopardy. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Canadians should not be forced to sit helplessly by while the Liberals rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. We need to be allowed to have our say. To send a message to Justin Trudeau or to whoever is running the Liberal Party right now, please go to calltheelection.ca and sign the petition.